Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm so excited to huddle up with you all. I want to go over the reminders. So hopefully everyone is, ready for Christmas and getting out there and still writing business and making it happen. So let's go through the reminders of what we've got going on. Tomorrow we have Rob Jones, VP of Agency Development. He will be on the call tomorrow, so don't miss tomorrow's call. Thursday on 12/19, Ken Outley from Phone Burner will be on. Thursday, we've got Mr. Rob Berger, newly promoted RM on the DRT. And Friday, we've got Mr. Barry Clarkson, CEO of Equus, on the Friday call. So everyone make sure that you don't miss a call. It's so important kind of as we go through our careers and our lives. It's so important that, we plug in. The more we plug in, the more we learn. Without these calls, you're not constantly learning, right? So you've got to be on the call so you don't miss a thing. So let's go through the numbers so far. Oh, we have no calls the week of December 23rd. And Monday, 12:30, we have Barry Clarkson at 10 a.m. No calls December 31st or January 3rd. So just so everybody knows. Okay, so I got this quote and I want to read it to you guys. And I think this is so important, right? Don't wait till you reach your goal to be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself every step of the way. And why that's so important is what we do. We get up every single morning, we start making our calls, we get on this call, and then we finish making our calls for the day, and then we start running appointments. So it's so important that we need to be proud of ourselves for the effort that we're showing, right? If you show up for yourself every day, be proud of yourself for showing up, even if you don't get the results that you're anticipating. Because what we know is if you keep doing the same thing every single day and you keep putting in the time and you keep plugging in, you're going to get those results. So be proud of yourself for what you've accomplished, immediately. So let's go through the numbers. So everyone over 2,000. So it's Tuesday. And these are the people that have hit 2,000 so far. And I'm going to butcher names. So here we go. Get excited. These names are going to be butchered. I am so sorry. Patrick Antone, Daniel Esteem, Roy Montgomery, Chandler Todd, Michaela Friend, Casey Burnell, Mark Vanderhoff, Emmy Norris, Nadine Smith Johnson, John Ray, Vinny Padone, Brad Schmidt, Jeff Geske, Chris Tensman, Steve Bedgood, Diane Jackson, Matthew Wilson, Melvin Ramirez, Olivia Thompson, Rick Reed, and Mark Munson, all over 2,000. Congratulations. That's a lot of people, you guys. Okay, over 3,000 so far. And mind you, we're the week before Christmas, right? Listen to these numbers. This is incredible. Tab Colehouse, over 3,000. Carrie Lyons, Muggs Helene, Stephen Overton, Robert Zoba, Christian Dean, Magidson Lewis, over 3,000, over 4,000. Of course, we have Ashlynn Miller, who will be on our call today, over 4,000. Tonya Hughes, who will be on our call today, over 4,000. Next, ready, Doss Arnold, Michael Reeves, over 4,000, over 5,000. Casey Wood, Chris Toppy, Brenda Berger, Ryan Dubner, over 6,000 so far this week. Wendy Baxter, over 8,000. Patrick Neff, over 8,000. Newly promoted RM who will be on the DRT. Mr. Rob Berger, over 9,000. Bill Roman, and then Connor Stichler, over 12,000. And of course, Miss Deanna Cooper, over 14,000, 11 applications. And she is joining us today on the call. So very excited about everyone who's hit their numbers. And let's go through the first time writers. We have Chimanda Udezo on Lewis Maud on Dave Schneider's team. We have Deja Stanley on Steve Bedgood on Dan Lambert's team. We have Patrick Antone on Matthew Wilson's team. And we have Carrie Lyons on Greg Archer's team. Congratulations to all the first-time riders. I love it because it's the first of many. SMs. We've got Willis Kemp coming in at number 10. Helene Helene, coming in at number 9. Steve Bedgood coming in number 8. Jeff Geske coming in number 7. Alex Cherry coming in number 5. Casey Wood coming in number 4. Emmanuel Eliason coming in number 3. Miss Nicole Hansen, who's joining us on the call today, number 2. And number 1, Miss Deanna Cooper. So congratulations to all the SMs. RM rankings, Miss Tonya Hughes at number 10, Tonya and Michael Hughes. Nick and JB Burns at number 9. Number 8, Dave Schneider. Number 7, Taylor Rumbo. Number 6, Greg Archer. Number 4, Connor Jones. Number 3, Russ Tessman. Number 2, Bill and Terry Lampy. And number 1, newly promoted RM, Rob Berger, taking over the RM leaderboard. Loving it. So congratulations to everyone. I mean, it's Tuesday and y'all are out there making it happen. So congratulations to everyone. So really wanted to talk today with all of our female rock stars. It is the Winning with Women on Tuesday call today, only because Rob took our spot on Wednesday, to be honest. So we are doing this on Tuesday, but want to go through a little bit about holiday objections, right? I mean, we are 1 week away from Christmas Eve. I'm hoping everyone is shopped, wrapped, and everything is done. But, you know, we're going to start, we're already getting objections, let's face it. So I really want to go through today, overcoming holiday objections. How do you set the table for a holiday objection? How do you overcome the holiday objections? How do you overcome the different things? So I've got Deanna and the Beast Jr., Miss Ashlynn Miller, and the Beast, Miss Tonya Hughes. And we've also got Miss Nicole Hansen. So we're going to go through some different things and talk about, you know, how do you overcome it? What do you do? So let's start off with, they're all in different spots today, so I'm going to be super confused. Okay. Let's start off with the Beast, Miss Tonya Hughes. So we're going to go through some objections. And if anyone wants to put holiday objections in the chat, please feel free to put them in the chat. But want to start talking about, you know, our phone calls when we start calling clients and they're like, can we wait till after the holidays? So our first objection today is, Tonya, I'm calling you and you call me and you introduce yourself, why you're calling. And, you know, let's talk about, can you give me a call after the first of the year?
Yes, of course, yes, I can, but I can't promise you the rates will be the same. Because as you know, with insurance, it never goes down. Insurance never goes down. With every year, it always goes up. So the answer is yes, you can. I mean, I don't want to lie to them and say, oh, no, I can't call you after the end of the year. I mean, I'm not going to lie to them, Lori, but I am going to be honest with them and just say, yes, of course you can wait. But the other thing, too, is I also have clients that wait and they go, something happens in the ER, and you know what? They don't qualify anymore. So I'm not here to say you can't. I can't say you can't wait till after the first of the year, but I can't guarantee you're going to get the same rate. And that's a fair statement because we don't know.
I love it. I love it.
But I mean, you can't fix broken. You can't fix stupid. You know what I mean? So at the same time, the way I see it is the ones that are going to show up for the appointments right now, you're going to close. That's just my opinion. We may have a higher no-show rate right now, so we got to tie it down a little bit harder. But the ones that do show up, I feel like you close them. The other part of it is your sense of urgency is going to make a difference. If you're like, oh yeah, I totally understand, man, I get it. Yeah, I got a lot going on too, and you're real casual about it, then they're not going to think it's any kind of sense of urgency. I'd love to hear what Deanna has to say for sure, but My thing is your sense of urgency is going to be how they respond to it.
I love that. Okay, thank you. And let's go to the Beast Junior.
Um, I don't really get a whole bunch of holiday objections just because I have that sense of urgency when I talk to them. But if they do give me an objection, I just tell them, I mean, when you fill this out, what did you want it to do for you? Most people don't want to wait on this. Tomorrow's not promised. I say stuff like that. I do, if they're like pushy on it, I do say, yeah, I can call you back in January, but the rates are going up. I have a closeout text I send that say, please let me know if you decide you want the mortgage protection so I can close out your file. A few like that kind of stuff. I pretty much do the same as Tonya does it because she trained me, but I just don't really get very many objections because I don't give them the opportunity to give me that objection. Because the people I'm talking to, they want it. Like anybody I'm sitting on, I'm closing. But it's getting a hold of people, that's the hard part.
I totally agree. Getting a hold of people is the complicated part. And, you know, it is, you know, it's how we approach everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we approach it as, you know, can you meet with me? Do you have, you know, 15, 20 minutes that you and your spouse can be home? That's exactly the way they're gonna, that's exactly the way they're gonna take it, right? They're not gonna take it seriously. So what are you gonna do to have them take it seriously? I love that. So thank you. And let's go to Miss Nicole Hansen.
Hey,
Call me after the holidays.
good morning.
Good morning.
So I had this yesterday actually, and I said, you know, they said, can we wait till after, you know, wait till after January? And I said, well, we can, but I just have to get this file completed. So we can process it in January, but I have to close out the paperwork. And she said, okay, Friday at 9 a.m. And she was on the East Coast. And I said, you know what, my tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. just opened up. And I actually ran that appointment this morning and closed it. So it worked.
Awesome.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, thank you. And Miss Deanna Cooper, can you call me after the holidays? Can't hear you. Is your volume down?
No.
Okay, now I hear you.
Oh, okay. I think kind of basically, we're all kind of on the same page. In my mind, I try not to think, oh, I'm going to get objections because it's the holidays, because then I will get in my head. I basically tell them, yes, I mean, we can, but I mean, we don't know what the rates are going to be. Just like Tonya said, you don't want to say they're going to go up because we don't know they're going to go up, and you don't want to be dishonest. And then I move on to tell them, because most people have got this thing in their head, they need to buy Christmas presents rather than buy life insurance. And I'm like, is it a budget issue right now because of the holidays? And if they say yes, I'm like, well, we can do the appointment now. And as long as it's not too far out, you can pick your first draft to be, you know, sometime after Christmas, but at least we get the appointment done. That seems to help. And Lori, at the end of the day, if that doesn't help, whether if it was Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, whatever, they didn't want it. They're just using, you know, I'm saying that as an objection because they don't want it. Then that's kind of really, I tend to back them into the wall a little bit, and it kind of sounds a little brushed, but it does work. I'm like, if this is something you don't want, just let me know and I will close the file out. And I swear half of the time they'll be like, no, I do want it. I'm like, then we need to try to go over this, you know, as soon as possible. That seems to help than more of the begging and pushing and that salesy tactic that people tend not to like. So that's just kind of basically how I handle it. I do, you know, I tap on the part that, you know, it could go up, and then we can go ahead and make the draft date, you know, for after December, you know, the first week of January, because I mean, it's only a couple of weeks away anyway. That's usually sometimes what people are doing in the first place. So that's basically how I handle those.
I love that. And so, you know, basically what everyone's saying is A, this is in our head, right? Like if you're thinking about the objections that you're going to get for the holidays, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get the objections for the holidays, right? You're going to get holiday objections. If, you know, if you're going into this, like, look, you filled out the card. This is more important than anything else. We're all busy, right? Like, let's face it. I've been home 3 days the whole month of December. I've literally been home 3 days. So when we talk about busy, like, I totally get when people say they're busy. I'm like, oh shit, I've been home 3 days, right? But, you know, it's what our mindset is what becomes their mindset. So if we make this important and we say, I get it, I'm totally busy too, but I know this was super important to you and super important to your family. So I know you want to get this taken care of, don't you?
Lori, one thing
And-
that I do say is with that busy, that is key, right? Is, hey, I'm crazy busy too, man. I tell you what, I'm working long, hard hours to get all this done before the first of the year, because everyone wants to get this taken care of before the first of the year. Everyone wants to do it. Everyone wants to do what everyone else is doing. They don't want to be like different, right? So most people, and if you're busy and you make yourself look busy, people want to do business with busy people.
And I think we say that on every single call. And I really hope that people really think about that, because it is so crucial. Is look, everyone wants to do what everyone else is doing, right? So people want to do business with people that are busy, and you want to be part of the crowd, right? You don't want to be the one out. You know, I keep thinking of, you know, the whole FOMO thing, right? Fear of missing out. If everyone else is doing it, don't you want to do it? And, you know, I actually think about the trip that I just went on, and, you know, we had 5 couples, right? Every single person made it to dinner every single night, although it was hard days, right? They made it to dinner every single night because that's what everyone else was doing. And they had FOMO. They didn't want to miss out, right? So, you know, you have to sit there and go, okay, if in your mind you're super busy, you know people want it, they get that vibe. You put that out there, right? You totally put that out there that, hey, look, everyone else is doing this. We need to do this too. Right? I want to make sure my family is protected. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk after the first. I'm getting the objections here on the group chat, or on the chat, not group chat. Let's talk after the first of the year, Tonya.
Didn't we just answer this?
Yeah, kind of. Let's see. Call me back the middle of January.
Sorry, I'm just making.
Yeah.
I'm just like that. What's the difference?
Yeah, that's true. They are only saying that to avoid payments during the holidays, which is true. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about people, right now they're spending more money than they ever spend. And they're like putting everything on credit cards. Let's talk about debt for a minute. They're putting everything on credit cards. It's, you know, and we're asking them to spend cash that they're going to have to use to spend their credit card. So, Tonya, go with that one.
They're wanting it because of the payment, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Most people we do is go ahead and get the process started so you can be qualified. Your payment won't be due until after the first of the year.
Love it. That's what I
mean,
too.
that's it. I mean, I'll let them know, just so you know now, that coverage doesn't start till then either.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
that will ensure that that rate will not, even if the rates go up January 1st, your rate won't go up.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so important, like, as we're kind of going through this, that, you know, you've got to think of it as, look, we can put off payments, right? No more than 30 days out, guys. So if today is the 17th, which to me, I'm looking at the date here, it looks to be the 17th. We cannot push it any further out than January 17th, right? But that gives them plenty of time.
Yes, but Lori, as a new agent, make sure that you understand you're not getting paid until they pay. I just don't want you to sit there and go, oh, I just wrote that app. And then all of a sudden I have this, because I had this happen, and agent's like, I didn't get paid. I'm like, well, you put the effective date for 30 days out. You're not getting paid for 30 days. So, I mean, if you're one of those new agents and you need that money like today, hey, you just got to tell them, hey, the coverage will start immediate.
Absolutely.
But I will say is the way you present it is everything. Because the reality of it is, if they can't afford it right now when they're buying like in like December, Because it's like Bill Martin says, listen, if someone slashed all 4 tires in your driveway, we need to know that number you can afford right now.
Yeah.
Right? Because if your number is so big that they can't afford it, they're not going to be able to afford it anytime. Because Christmas comes every year.
I agree. I absolutely agree. The Beast Junior.
The question was pushing the payment out. Is that right? I personally, I mean, I do push payments out. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I've had a lot of people and people appreciate it. There are some carriers that do pay you when the policy issues.
Yeah.
So it is something to keep in mind. Mutual of Omaha is one of them, depending on how you're set up to pay. And there's a few others, but there are those carriers that won't pay you until that first premium is received. So when I talk to them, I ask them what they want. Do you want the coverage to go into effect immediately, or do you want to get through Christmas and then your first payment be due? Some people say no, immediate. Those are the people who are sick. And a lot of other people are like, no, let's get me through Christmas, through the first of the year. But I just don't make a big deal out of it. I feel like the bigger deal you make of it, the bigger deal they make of it. And so I don't make a big deal of it. I just go through it. I ask the question, very simply put, when do you want your first payment to be? Or when do you want your payment to be monthly? And I tell them, I have them answer that question. Perfect. Now, do you want this policy to go into effect immediately where if something happens tomorrow, you're covered? Or do you want to get through the first of the year and then make your first payment? Or through Christmas? And a lot of people are like, thank you. Yes, through Christmas. I have too many grandkids I have to spend money on, which they have the money there. It's just this psychological thing. I'm the same way in some aspects on some things. It's just a psychological thing. And so I just don't make a big deal of it. I'm just nice to them. I mean, the most important thing is that you're honest, and you do what's best for them, not what's best for you.
I couldn't agree more. So basically, you know, I like the way you said that. I don't know that I've ever said it that way. Do you want to be covered immediately, or do you want to wait to be covered until the 15th of January? You know, that makes so much sense in my head, and why I've never said that. Again, this is why I get on the calls and interview these incredible women. I absolutely love that. I think that is perfect. So let's go to Miss Nicole.
So what I say is kind of just a statement, and I say it just has to draft anytime in December until I get pushed back. And I try to kind of plan with them, you know, with December 28th work. And then if they come back to me and say, really, I would like it in January, then I'll move it to January. But I try to push for the month that I'm in. And that's because I'm trying to hit different bonus levels for the producer side of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. You know, whatever we make a big deal about, they're going to make a big deal about, right?
Right.
So, Miss Deanna Cooper, Miss $1 million producer. What you got for us?
I kind of basically just do what I said in the beginning. We can get it taken care of now. I personally, just say it can be anytime as long as it's not after the 28th, because as you know, not every month has 29, 30 days. And most of the time they will pick a draft date sometime that month. But if they really need it to be, you know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks out, I mean, it's not a big deal to me. I'll push it out. I notice when you don't want to back them into the wall just so you can get paid to have that draft, because I noticed when I did used to do that, I got more of those emails with non-sufficient funds. So I noticed when I do let them pick a comfortable draft date, I do avoid of that non-sufficient fund email that I hate to see when I get up in the morning. So I'm not gonna let them push it out past 30 days or anything like that, but I start off and I say, hey, you know, as long as it's not past the 28th, we can do whichever day you're comfortable with. And then if there's people, you know, that get paid on the 1st or the 3rd, then, I mean, I'll go ahead and, move it to the 1st or the 3rd, but I, for the most part, let them pick their draft date because they know when their money's in there, I don't.
I agree. So I love that because here's the bottom line is, look, if you think about everything else in life that we're doing business, like transactions, right? We want our mortgage. Our mortgage typically comes out like what, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, right? And you try to like stagger your payments. So I do believe that they should pick the draft date, because what if you say, okay, well, let's draft it upon approval, and approval is the 28th of the month, and they're on a fixed income and they get their money on the 1st or the 3rd, right? There's a good chance on the 28th, they don't have the $150, $200 in that account. And so I want that draft to go through every single time. And here's the one thing that I've learned is we need to sit there and go, okay, if we're customer service oriented, right, we're going to make sure that they're getting exactly what they want at a price that they can afford on the date that they need it to come out, right? If we don't want our business replaced, we're gonna dot our I's and cross our T's on every single one of those things. Does that make sense?
Especially
Okay.
for people who are retired, they have that Social Security a certain time of the month, and that may be the only time they get income. Do not set that
Exactly.
payment up at the end of the month or in the middle of the month when their Social Security comes in like the 1st Wednesday of each month.
I agree. So, we got to make sure that those payments are comfortable. Okay, so I have a good objection, right? Okay, they set the appointment with you, right? You're in the appointment, you go through it all, they love it, they want to do it, but they don't want to do it till after the 1st of the year. They don't want to do it till January. So you're sitting with them today and they don't want to do it. They don't want to mess with it. They just moved in their house. They're trying to get Christmas together. They don't know what their bills are, and they don't want to do it till after the 1st of the year. They don't want to fill out a request for coverage because they have too much going on in their life.
I mean, you got to do the takeaway. I don't even know if I can get I don't even know if I can get you qualified. We just need to send this in and see if we can get you qualified. Like I just had someone who swore up and down they'd get qualified. They were declined in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing is we don't know. Our job is just to get the information, send it in, and see if we can get them qualified.
Yep. I totally agree. So, okay, Deanna.
With those type of situations, again, me personally, I kind of narrowed down and asked them, is this something that you want? Is it a budget issue, or is it an issue that you're trying to wait because you don't even know if this is something that you want to do or not? 9 times out of 10, they'll say, no, I want it. I don't know what I can afford. Or no, I don't really think I'm interested. If they're not interested, I'm fine. I'm off the phone. I'm on to the next lead because I need a commission, not a chargeback. And then if it's like, we all get that, I just moved into the house, I don't know what my bills are, then I'm like, I usually say, well, let's start with a lower amount of coverage, something that you can afford. And then once you get more accommodated with your new bills, your new mortgage payment or whatever, then we can always increase the coverage down the road later. That's how I handle that. Then again, if that doesn't work for me, and this is like the model that I've always lived by, and it keeps me from not going crazy, they don't want it anyway, because we've given them the 2 best options. Like, either you want it, tell me you don't want it, and then I'm going to get off the phone with you and you'll be happy because I'm not talking to you anymore, and I'll be happy because I can move on to somebody who wants it. Or let's just do a very small amount of coverage right now and we can fix it later. I usually give them options, Lori, and after that, I mean, I'm honest, I just throw in the towel and go to the next lead.
Love it. Love it. Okay, Miss Nicole Hansen.
Yeah, mine's pretty almost identical to Deanna's. So I'll lower the coverage and see if I can get them to, go forward with the application with a lower amount. And I'll say after the new year, we can always add more. And if I get pushback, I move on to the next. I don't waste too much time with it.
Love it. Perfect. And the Beast Junior.
I do about the same. I'll lower the coverage. I'll ask them what's a comfortable number If it's a budget issue, what's a comfortable number to get the process started? And we can always add to it later. Once you know what your bills are, once you're comfortable, you just got the home, I completely understand it. I validate what they're telling me. So if they're like, look, we just moved into this home, I completely understand it. And then if they are still giving me pushback, I'm going to move on, because I'm not going to hold on to it like a little kid holds on to its lovey. I'm just not, because at the end of the day, if they really want it, they want it. If they don't, and if I push them to get it, then they're probably going to cancel it, and then I'm going to have a chargeback, and I don't want that.
I agree. I agree. So it's interesting that, you know, basically what they're all saying is, look, either catch that fish or go fishing someplace else, right? Either catch that fish or go fishing someplace else, right? So it's either we're going to do business or we're not going to do business. And I get it. Like, if you don't really want it, this is not a big need for you. You don't love your family. You don't want to protect your family. Totally get it. I mean, you're not going to obviously say that, because then you're a jerk. But, you know, in your head, you're like, hey, look, my family's taken care of. It's on you at this point, right? Like, my family's taken care of. I'm going to sleep well over the holidays, knowing that if something happens to me over the holidays, I'm good to go. So, you know, kind of as you're looking at that, right? You've got to make sure that you have that mentality, because guess what? People know, okay, we're all on commission. There's no secret, right? When we're calling people, guess what they know? There's a good chance this person's on commission, because we're in sales, right? So we're on commission. It's a week before Christmas. Does everyone want to make money a week before Christmas? Hell yeah, we all want to make money a week before Christmas, right? We got to get those last minute gifts. So, you know, we've got to make sure that we're very, in how we're saying it. If you listen to all these ladies, which they're all incredible in how they do it, but they're all saying the same thing. Look, I think this is important to you. We're going to find a program that fits your needs, fits your budget. We're going to apply for it. If you don't see a need for this, there's no sense in us moving forward. Like, I'm done, right? So you've got to be able to differentiate between the ones that are just bored and want someone to talk to, which really, or the people that are serious about loving their families and protecting their families, right? So we got to make sure that as we're going through this process, that we're relaying to our clients that personality, right? It is the tone of our voice. It is how we say what we say, right? But you've got to be on point. So I hope y'all are taking great notes, because this is great stuff. Let's see. What do you say when they say we already have an appointment with an agent later today? Okay, this isn't a holiday one, but we're going to go with a few that aren't holiday ones. Okay, so what do you say if they say they have an appointment with an agent later today? Are you first? Are you last? Okay, this is a very good question, because my daughter, who's starting back up in the business again part-time, we'll see her in and out, right? Anyway, she's young, but you know, she said, Mom, I remember. Now, mind you, she's watched me for 25 years, right? Well, 23 over 25 years. But she said, Mom, someone said they're meeting with an agent at 4 o'clock. So I booked the appointment at 7. Was I supposed to be before them or after them? She goes, I always remember you saying you wanted to be the last one in the door. And in person, I did want to be the last one in the door. But that is not what I have found virtually. That is the one thing that I have found to be just a little bit different. But I want to hear the Beast Junior. Go for it.
Me personally, I'm going to talk to them before. If they won't talk to me before, I say, look, mortgage protection is a state regulated program. It's custom fit to you and your budget. I don't work for the bank. I'm not going to lie and say I work for the bank, because I don't. They don't either. Okay. There's several different companies you can look at for mortgage protection. I represent all of them. Some people only represent 2 of them. That's how it's custom fit to you and your budget. I can call you today at 3 and I can go over the options with you. Or if they really if they're like, well, I want to talk to the person at 4, let's say it's 4 o'clock. That's fine. Why don't you get the information from them, get the numbers, get the coverage amount, get all the information from them. I'm the manager. I will be 100% honest with you. I can call you back around 5:30. And then we can compare apples to apples. The most important thing to me is that you get the coverage that makes the most sense, that gives you protection, peace of mind, but doesn't break the bank. That's all that matters to me. If what they have to offer you is better, that's fine. But we can compare apples to apples and see where you're getting the biggest bang for your buck. But typically, I want to be the first one in the door. I don't know how everyone else does it, because if I'm the first one in the door and I'm sitting in front of them, I can guarantee I'm going to close it. And then at the end of it, I'm going to say, I make the joke. I'm like, look, if it's not my phone number and it's not a little blonde girl like me, you don't need to talk to them. People will call you. People will badger you. They are relentless. They will want to change your mortgage protection. They'll say you're missing paperwork. They'll say you're 1 out of 10 people that get to be offered the lower rate. That's the funniest one I've seen recently. Yeah, crazy. But none of that's true. Okay, your mortgage protection is taken care of now. You don't have to talk to the person at 4 o'clock. You're good. If they do call you, just tell them you're good. You don't need to talk to them. If they try to push on you, they're just trying to change your coverage or get you more coverage. I put it in front of the room and I tell them so that way they know. And I do that in every single appointment. At the end of it, I do that exact same thing. If it's not a little blonde girl like me, don't talk to them. You will get confused. People are good at confusing people. When you close on a house, it's public knowledge. People can pull it up on the court system. What people are doing is some people are cold calling. You're not even filling out the lead that they're getting. They're just going into the system and cold calling you and saying they're with the mortgage protection, but you didn't actually fill that card out. So it's very important that if it's not me, and then I give them a little code sometimes, especially if they're older, I give them the code. If they're younger, they typically don't even write the code down. So it's a waste of my time. But the older ones, they write it on their fridge, like a little sticky note. But I will tell them, if anybody calls you, ask them for that code. If they don't give it to you, don't talk to them. It's probably a scam. That's exactly what I say, because the truth is, I know that I did the right thing for them. But what I don't know is the next agent that calls them, which I've had to happen several times, calls them, tries to replace it with something 10 times worse than what they're already in. Tell them that they're getting it cheaper, but really what they did was cut their coverage in half. So yes, of course they're getting it cheaper, but you just cut their coverage in half and cut their years down. And
I love it.
so I tell them that.
That is incredible. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Nicole Hansen.
Hey there. So I do take the second appointment, and I let them know that there's different levels of skill. Some agents have been in the business 10 years. Some agents have been in the business a year, and it's very important to get a second opinion. So go through the appointments, and then I schedule, within an hour I'm following, and I've had success with that. And what I find is a lot of the agents are not getting the client on camera. So then I'm sending my license, I'm getting them on camera, and they're like, wow, this is a little different. And it's the validation that, well, yeah, it's important that, whoever you just spoke to, you didn't see their license. No. So it's just more validation in my presentation. And I've been successful with, I've actually intentionally tried to follow instead of going first.
Okay, and see, that's what I always did in the home. And then all of a sudden people started not answering. So, because the person that talked to him the first time said exactly what Ashlynn just said. So then they're not answering my phone call, and I'm like, dang it. So I've been switching up. I have to say that I'm asking, I know it was on the message, but I was like, oh, this is such a good one, because lately I've been failing. So I wanted to learn from you all. So I love that. Thank you. And Miss Deanna Cooper.
Lori, I'm like you. I grabbed the first call and watch me jinx myself. And I've been very successful at it. I just tell them, I'm like, well, hey, I can talk to you now. And if they say, well, this guy or this gal is going to call me at such and such time, what I normally say is, because I write carriers that is going to be the cheapest for them. I'm not going to say it's maybe always the best commission for me, but my work still stays on the books because of that, because of other people calling in trying to beat it. I'm like, we've got a couple carriers that the other agents don't have. And I always put this out. I'm like, so if price is not a big issue to you, you could go ahead and talk to the other agent, and I'll go ahead and I'll close this out. I'm like, but if price is an issue, I'm like, I'll be able to help you. It's not going to be any cheaper when they call you back. And I'll tell you what, if it is, you just call me back and I'll cancel it. But it's not going to be any cheaper, because once I get their medications, their health history and things of that nature, I am going to put them with a cheaper carrier, and I make them write down what they have, whether if it's a term, the years, the coverage amount, or whether if it's critical period and I did final expense. I'm like, if they call you, the only way, just like Ashlynn said, if it's going to be any cheaper is if they took some years down or some coverage down. And I tend to build rapport so much with my people by the end of the conversation. I'm like, now remember this, when that other agent calls you back, they'll say, well, I'm not even picking up the phone. And that has worked out for me great, because like you, Lori, if an agent is good on the phone and very good at building up rapport, they're not going to pick up the phone for me, because that's what I established on that first call. They're not going to pick up the phone for the other agent anymore. That it's gone. So, but that's just what has worked for me. So
I love that. And when you went in person, did you want to be the first or the last? See, I always wanted to be the last.
I
Yeah.
did want to be the last because I wanted to sit there and I wanted to look at
Analyze it.
and what they wrote down and have them pull up their email and things of that nature. And then, you know, you got that rapport face to face where they'll trust you, you know, and helping them, put them in a better situation. But yeah, because if you don't go first on the phone, somebody's probably 4 or 5 people are going to call after you before that other agent's appointment anyway. It's just nuts out there. So you got to grab it when you can.
I totally agree, especially with, like, not only do they have an appointment with one agent, kind of like you just alluded to, they're going to have 25 more people calling them. So, like, get it done, get it nailed down, and build that rapport and let them know, look. And here's what I say. I'm like, can I be 100% honest with you? And they're like, sure. I was like, now this may seem really weird, but I shop all these different companies. And I said, so guess what? All my competitors that you've got the appointments with and they're going to call you after me, we all work with the same companies. Like, we all work with the same companies. They're not going to show you anything better than what I'm going to show you. So it just is based on you. How many times do you want to sit through this presentation? I'm like, I've been in the business 25 years. There's no complaints on me. Everything I do is ethical, by the book, and I'm going to make you my top priority and make sure that I find the best program at the best possible rates for you. And you and I are going to work together on this to do that. Once we get off the phone, once we put in the request for coverage, whoever else calls you can't show you something that I didn't already show you unless it's not that good for you, right? They're not going to show you something that's $20 less, because that's not really a thing. It's an actuarial thing. It's not like buying a car where you can get $3,000 off at this dealership, and at this dealership, it's going to cost you $3,000 more. That's not how insurance works. And then I just real quick, I explained to them, how does insurance work? Like, if they're 60 years old, I'll say, so 60 years old, like, they know statistically how many 60-year-olds with diabetes are going to live out 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. They don't know which ones, but they know how many, and they price it accordingly. Smokers, right? Not bashing on them, but look, bottom line is this, they know the longevity of a smoker, right? So you're not going to find smoker rates, you know, $50 cheaper with one company than another company. It's just not a thing. So, you know, it's either, do you want to do business with me, who I've been in the business forever, and I'm going to be here to the end of time, until I kick the bucket or you kick the bucket. That's always my joke. And I'm like, if I kick the bucket first, my husband will take care of you. But you know, I just kind of set it up like that, you know, like, look, this is what it is. How many times do you want to go through this? Because they don't want to go through it again. The one thing they know is they've sat on the phone with you for 30 minutes to an hour at this point, and they don't want to do that again. And that's what I found doing virtual is, look, I don't want to be the last one in. I want to be the first one in. So, but, you know, we all have different ways that we're doing it. And it doesn't matter if you're the first one or the last one. You just have to build the rapport, right? You just have to build the rapport. Let's see. For the ladies, what tone works best for you? Sweet and friendly or more monotone? I've been playing around with that a bit to see what works best. Sometimes it works. Other times it doesn't. I have to be honest. I would say my voice is strong. I would say my voice has a presence to it, but I'm also calling you honey all at the same time, right? Like, I take control of it, but I am super kind. And it's really, I don't have to pretend. It's just really my personality. Like some people are scared of me just because when I just tend to be like, I don't know, loud. I am that person. Like when I walk into a room, like I say where we're going to eat dinner. I say what we're going to do. And I bring that's my personal life and that's my business life. I say what we're going to do. I mean, poor Bill hasn't picked a restaurant in probably, a solid 20 years. He doesn't pick where we get to go because that's just my personality. I take charge of it. Here's how it is. This is how it's going to be. Love you, blah, and that's just kind of how I run my business as well. Like, look, you asked me to help you. I'm going to help you in the kindest possible way. Right? Deanna, go ahead.
Me personally, I really don't change the way I talk. Now, how much chitter chatter that I may do with them, it is going to depend on their personality. Because there are some people, especially maybe the ones that are like in their late 40s, early 50s, they're at work, they just want to get it done and be done with it. And then there's some of the older people that really don't have much to do but talk on the phone. But I normally, I just keep my same tone that I always do, but I do mirror my energy, off theirs. You can tell who's really friendly and who wants to talk and joke as opposed to the people who just want to get it done and get off the phone. So that's what I do. I don't, if they're happy, I don't act extremely happy. If they're sad, I'm not going to turn around and act sad. You know what I mean? I may say, hey, is everything okay? Okay, this is still an okay time for to acknowledge if something sounds different, but I'm not going to change my mood to match their mood. Or I just talk just like you. I mean, exactly how I talk. And if they want to chit chat, I'm down for it. If they want to hurry up and get to the point, because the guy the other day, he goes, hey, I just need to know who, how much it is. And then I'll tell you if I can afford it. I told him I was probably on the phone 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? He wanted to get off. He didn't want to chit chat. He had to get back to work. He was a lawyer or something like that. So that's how I do it.
Love it. Perfect. Miss Nicole Hansen.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm very monotone, very direct. There's not a lot of small talk. I just roll through. it. I do build a rapport, but it's this tone that I'm talking just right now.
I love that. And so we don't need to change our personalities, you guys. If there's one thing you're hearing us say, it's like, look, my personality is just a little bit louder and a little bit like, here's how it is, right? And I just do that in my appointments. That works. I don't change to be timid or shy or sweet or kind. It just naturally, I'm going to love you. And naturally, I'm going to take charge. It's just my personality, right? But if someone wants fast, I go fast. If someone wants slow, I can sit there and I can hang with the best of them, right? And just like these ladies. Okay, the Beast Junior.
I mean, I'm kind of a chameleon when it comes to if we're gonna get through it quick or if we're gonna chit chat. Typically, if we're gonna chit chat, I'll talk to them a little bit because I'll talk to people. I've always been that way. But I do have people who are like, tell me it straight to the point, and I'll get straight to the point. As far as my tonality, I'm very direct. You can ask my husband. I'm that same way in my normal life. I'm very direct. I can be sweet, but I'm very direct and I'm stern. So that way I direct the conversation. They don't direct it or tell me what's happening. I direct it. As far as like being sweet, I am sweet, but I don't know how to explain it. I'm sweet, but I'm direct. I don't really have I don't throw my voice up high and have like a high pitched voice in my appointments. The only time I say a high where it's like a little high pitched is when I'm dialing. But then once I say that first high, it's pretty much my same voice, especially now I have little to none of it. So I'm just direct. I talk like I normally talk. I show up my authentic self. And people can tell when you actually care about them versus when you're faking everything and being fake. It's easy to tell. It's not hard. You can spot it from a mile away. So I just show up myself. People always say that like I had someone yesterday, he was like, you educated us, you were sweet, and you helped us. I mean, it took him a long time to sign the application because he was 85 years old. So it took me a minute. But I stayed patient. I helped him. I walked him through it. We had to send the email like 3 or 4 times. That's okay. But it's stuff like that. Like a lot of people I've had clients tell me that people hung up on the phone, agents hung up on the phone, said it was useless, that it's not worth their time. That's just not how I work. I'm just genuine, but I am direct. I'm very direct. And I'm not afraid to get very direct if they give me a whole lot of pushback and I know they need it, but they're giving me a bunch of weird objections, but they said they need it. They said they want it. I'm not afraid to look them in the eye and say, so you're telling me that that she's going to be able to pay this mortgage on $0.00 a month and your income's gone? I will say that. I don't know if anyone else says that, but I'm not afraid to do that.
I love that. And that's so important because you are, let's be honest, you are super young.
Yeah.
I love that for you. I love that for you. Super jealous of that. But you know, in the same sentence, look, you know, she hadn't been in this business for 10 years, 20 years, nothing like that, right? She knows how to get it done, right? She's not scared to say anything. And that's what sets her apart, right? That's what sets her apart. You know, because what I always say is, what are they going to do? Like, seriously, what are they possibly going to do to you? They're not going to do a darn thing. So, you know, you just need to be honest with them. They're not going to come through the phone and you know, do anything to you. So, you know, what does it matter? Just call it like it is. Like you're either going to get it or you're not.
Yep.
Okay. Miss Tonya Hughes.
Respond the question because I was listening to her on the re-ask the question so I can make sure I hear it correctly.
Now you're totally making me forget the question. Hold on. What was it?
Tonality.
Tonality.
What's your
Tonality.
Oh yeah, the
What was
personality.
your
Sorry, I
personality?
was listening to Ashlynn. I was like, okay, yeah, that's exactly what I do. Same thing. I would say I'm in setting the appointment. I would say maybe I'm a little more monotone, maybe a little more serious, maybe in setting that appointment, just to kind of because I believe the way you set the appointment is also the way you run the appointment. So I have more of a take charge attitude kind of thing. I just had a guy today and he said, yeah, this guy named Ben said that he knows you. And I said, he's not from my office, just so you know. And Lori, I couldn't get in, but in earlier, but I was able on the phone to build enough rapport that he told me I will text you as soon as that appointment's over with him so that we can go over it. Right. So I feel like I'm not a high tone, but I feel like it's a take charge, but I'm still friendly. But I think we're all saying the same thing, right? You've got to be confident. I think the bottom word is confident. You're confident in yourself and they sense that. Right. So if you're not confident in yourself, no one's going to buy from you. Right. And so I think what we're saying is we're confident, we're direct, we can be friendly. But again, like Deanna, I'm going to kind of like, if they're fast and hey, let's get off the phone, let's get this taken care of, I'm going to go with it. Right. If they're more, hey, they're more casual, a little bit more laid back and they're friendly and chit chat, and I'm going to chit chat with them. Right. But the key is being able to redirect the chit chat. Because if you make them too much of your friend, like they're your best friend before they get off the phone, Ashlynn used to struggle with this a lot. And I did too when I first got out. When I first got out, they were my best friend. And they were such my best friends. Like I could feel like I could call them up like, oh, hey, you know what I mean? But guess what? They were also really comfortable saying no. Right. So Ashlynn struggled with this as well. Same thing, right? There's a fine line between building too much rapport and being like the best friend kind of thing where they feel like they can tell you no, and then them looking at you like, hey, they're looking to you to direct them, educate them, and protect their family.
Love it. Love it. Okay. And I know there's a bunch more in here, a bunch more objections. One is, can you run a version of your opening to an appointment that builds the need? That will take us a whole entire hour. So
Lori, we've got some recordings on the Daily Roundtable.
And we do have recordings, and we will go through that. We'll go through that next month because I always love that one, right? I always learn so much on that one. But real quick, ladies, let's go through for the last 5 minutes here. So let's go through what our schedules look like during the holiday season. Tonya, go first on what is your day-to-day activity? When are you going to stop working? What does that look like? Are you
I
setting
started
more or
9
less appointments right now? Are you setting more or less appointments?
Oh, double book everything. Double book everything. And I tell them, hey, listen, with the holidays, I'll be honest with you. I run crazy behind sometimes because people run behind because of traffic. My schedule also puts me behind. So if you could allow a 45-minute to an hour lead wait time, because I'll tell you what, these evening appointments, guys, people are stopping and picking up that last minute gift or whatever, and then they run behind, and that puts me behind. So I just like call the elephant in the room. Hey, listen, I know it's a crazy time of the year with the holidays. Is there any reason you have any shopping? But I'm double booking absolutely everything. Double booking it. And I just let them know to allow that lead wait time. Normally it's 30 to 45-minute lead wait time. I'm saying 45 minutes to an hour lead wait time. And I'll just let them know. I'll even have a wait list, Lori. I'll be like, listen, I'm so crazy busy. Everyone wants to get this taken care of before the end of the year. But I do have a wait list I can put you on. So if someone doesn't show up, I can give you a call. Does that work for you?
Love it. Everyone wants what they can't have. I love the wait list. Again, God, all my takeaways from today. Okay, thank you so much, Tonya. And the Beast Junior.
I have a wait list as well. I do what my mom does. As far as my schedule, I'm working as much as I can. I'm showing up to the office early. I'm leaving late. I am dialing. I dialed all day yesterday, called, texted. I have no voice, and I've been calling and texting as much as I can to get as many appointments as I can. And yesterday I barely hit 6. Like, it is hard to get a hold of people. I'm calling from 2 different phones. I'm just putting in massive activity because what I do know is if I put in massive activity, I will see results. I'm working, it's 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. My last appointment right now I have is at 10 p.m. So I usually don't get out of that till like 10:30, sometimes 11. And I'm working all the way till Friday. And I'll probably work on Monday too. I probably won't work Tuesday because I'm one of those who actually hasn't done a whole bunch of Christmas shopping. I forgot Christmas was 10 days. And 10 days on like Sunday. And so a lot of last minute stuff to do, but I'm working as much as I can. Plus I want to set the tone for my team.
Love it. Love it. And Miss Nicole Hansen.
Same thing, massive activity. I'm going to be working straight through. I'll work Saturday morning as well. And I'm looking at a calendar. So Monday I'll be working, and then the following Monday, right before the end of the year. So.
Love it. That's perfect. Okay. And Miss Deanna Cooper.
Nothing's really gonna change for me that much. I'm gonna run my schedule how I normally run my schedule. I know last year, which was crazy, I actually ran Christmas Eve, and I think I did like 9 grand on Christmas Eve. So I'll run probably if I can, and if not, I'm already preparing myself that, you know, not to get upset, not to get down that I cannot work, you know, the day before Christmas, but I'll work up until the day before Christmas, and then sometimes I'll book after Christmas and that following weekend. So I don't let holidays change, you know, my schedule too much for me. So that's what I'll be doing.
I love that. Ladies, what an incredible job. I mean, you know, the takeaways are A, double book, have a wait list, have a code, right? If they don't know the code, and make up a code, or it's the code from the IVR. Is that what you're using, Ashlynn?
Yeah, some of them I give them my date of birth as the code because I always remember that. It just depends, but most of the time I find like a 4-digit code on the lead, and that's what I give them. There's always a number on the lead.
Perfect. I love that, you guys. You know, and then massive activity, you know, what you think is what is portrayed to the clients. So, you know, be natural, be yourself, be humble, but be not aggressive, be stern, like be confident. Be confident in yourself, right? Be confident in what you're saying and believe in what you're saying, and they will too believe. They are all these clients, you know, they want to get the coverage. Are you the person that's going to help them to obtain that before the holidays? Or is someone else going to? Because I can assure you, guess what? If you let that person pass by over, Deanna Cooper or Nicole Hansen or the Beast Junior or the Beast, they're going to come in, and that's going to be a B lead, and they're going to buy it, and they're going to write before you ever even get a chance, right? Because you're thinking that people are too busy to do business right now. They're thinking, hey, everyone loves their family. They want to protect their family. They want to get this done. So we're going to do it now. right? So just have a good mentality, and I promise you, you guys, it is going to be a great last week before Christmas. So man, I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. I am so excited to get back and get after it today myself. And let's have a wonderful rest of the day and look forward to seeing you all on tomorrow's DRT with Mr. Rob Jones. Have a good one. Bye-bye.